Good afternoon and welcome to Identifying Transferable Skills. My name is Kay Little-Ailes and I am the proud owner of Future-Proof Ed Consultancy. And thank you to Manchester Digital, who have kindly asked me to partner with them to spend 60 minutes with you today exploring transferable skills. You can find me on LinkedIn under Kay Little-Ailes and also Twitter under #DigitalTechSkills. I've set that up for Manchester Digital with myself under Sassy Northern Monkey. Okay, so a huge responsive global awakening is happening. And what if I told you that the current pandemic crisis has presented the tech and the digital industry with a huge window of opportunity? So as we talk, Zoom calls are taking place globally. Search engine optimization, digital content is being written and prescribed, AI and VR assistance is required along with junior developers. These are just a few of the digital and tech roles and responsibilities that are required. There's over 7.8 billion people's lives that have been affected and transformed in a matter of months. And we're remote, the world has gone remote, we're catching up on the whole. And I think if we're really honest with ourselves, probably the COVID situation has really encouraged people to pause and stop and quite frankly think about their future. Interestingly, it's said from many researchers that have been made that society now requires a growth mindset and they're no longer looking for the perfect skills. So interestingly enough, Adam Nichol, the Randstad UK marketing director, has quoted that the pandemic has absolutely forced companies to focus on what jobs and skills are really truly essential. And interestingly enough, as you and I both know, remote work is absolutely on the agenda and it will be for some time. Companies far and wide are even considering, do they really need the office space? So the landscape is really changing. We've got to catch up with that. So with the analysis and the data that's being shared by the government and recruitment agencies, we can safely say that it's quite qualitative in the actual outcomes. So years ago, even up until 5 years ago, competencies and transferable skills were very different to how they are deemed now. And it's said that the mindset and the behaviour of candidates that are either looking at being curious around joining the digital and tech era, regardless of their age, regardless of their generation, need to have an adaptable mindset, which is now the most sought after skill on the market. So there was a poll involved with the actual course, and as you can see, we're no longer able to do this online, but I'd like you to answer the questions that you may have had sent to you. And these questions are the following. So if you participated in today's workshop, then the question would have been, what influenced you to consider working within the tech or the digital industry? And some of those responses from the multiple choice responses are, the 9 till 5 world became less appealing. You've had bad experiences, which has been a little bit of a catalyst for change. Your colleague told you about the opportunities. You've researched quite a lot and you are considering digital or tech. You're going to enhance your degree or your qualifications that you currently have. You've feared change in the past, but lockdown has given you that fresh set of eyes and that fresh lens of perspective about what you want for you and your future. And then the other response could be other. So if you've not participated in the poll, they are questions that I would ask yourself about. It's the why. It's not the how, it's the why. Why are you considering? And some of you that have joined today's call may already be immersed within the learning environment or working within tech. But I think sometimes we just need a reminder as to why we thought about it in the first place. So what are transferable skills? Okay, now I could stand here and be condescending and tell you to write down a list of competencies to then align them to your own transferable skills. but I'm not about to do that. You are more likely to be pursued for employment if you show adaptability, as I say. So, 2015, research from the World Economic Forum, this is not just the UK, this is the World Economic Forum, demonstrated that the top 10 list of employable transferable attributes from any candidates, either going into a learning environment or a recruitment environment to get a role within tech or digital, with complex problem solving, coordinating with others, critical thinking, and the list goes on. If you look upon the left-hand side, in 2020, the top 10 on the agenda is still number 1, complex problem solving, critical thinking and creativity, people management. That is also referring to how you collaborate and network with others, coordinating with others. So it's not just about working alone, it's about how do you understand other social styles as well as your own, whilst you're immersed within a learning environment or a new environment. Emotional intelligence is right up there in the requirements, judgment and decision making, and that links back to autonomy, the autonomous mind, being able to use your initiative when there's nobody else around. Service orientation, thinking about the client, thinking about the business, thinking about self, and negotiation. How do you negotiate rather than just say yes to everything? And cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility is really bringing the subconscious to the front of your brain and becoming more consciously aware of why you are doing things, stopping and pausing when you're required to do so. So if you're considering working in the industry and you can look at that list and think, well, yeah, I have all of those attributes. A great bit of feedback that I've had from 60 candidates that have now immersed themselves within the sectors of tech and digital are, they asked colleagues, managers, friends and family members to give them feedback about their key strengths that they saw as transferable skills. They said that this was very useful in terms of how you see yourself is not often how others see you. So it's just worth thinking about having those list of 10 descriptions and working out how do I align my experience and my knowledge and my tenure to those, to then put that forward to an employer or somebody that's going to accredit you. You're going to go through an apprenticeship, you're going to start your degree in whatever that may be. There's no age group, there's no age bracket when it comes to digital and tech. And some quite startling facts and figures are only 23% of the globe is female working in tech and digital. So come on, ladies, let's see some more recruitment within the tech and the digital industry. That's not to say that we need more males as well. So that's the future of the job opportunities that we have. So I want to take you back to childhood. So 5 years old, there you go, you pop your uniform on, you go back to school. And challenging society and the way that we're immersed within a curriculum, we go to school and we are part of one size fits all society. And you're asking, well, what does this have to do with transferable skills? It has everything to do with it. So we're conditioned from the age of 5 and earlier so to the age where we've gone through college, maybe university. Some of us started work early because we liked money, and all kinds of different scenarios come into play. When occasionally you may get to the stage where you're asking yourself, the money's great, it's cracking, but I'm dragging myself out of bed every day to get to work. So you're not really motivated and gaining the fulfillment from your role. You're just getting a wage. So most people have a catalyst of change. And the catalyst of change is quite often something rotten has happened to them in the job. They're just really fed up of the mundane 9 till 5. And then along with that comes, I fancy a change, but where do I start? Now, that may not relate to you. You could be in a period of change already where you've left your degree, you've finished your degree, you've worked for 40 years, and then all of a sudden an epiphany happens and you just think, I want to change. That's absolutely great. If you're feeling and thinking those things, then they're there for you to instinctively respond to. A little bit of feedback for you, and these colleagues and companies that I work with and partner with have helped me put some of this together today. So, to diversify and make yourself more adaptable, to become more transferable in the way that you promote your skills, you're going to have to really look at doing things differently. So I'm going to name a few companies that I've worked with. So Sparks Academy are a new enterprise starting up in the EU and in the United Emirates, apologies, and looking at how they can influence the younger generation in the digital and the tech era. Innovate Her are a fantastic company working with females, a lot of young females, in fact, and looking at ways of getting somebody to become a junior developer and taking them through a program. Sharp Futures do some wonderful things along with Code Nation, who I work very closely with, Intersol Global, Computer Love and EYs. All of these companies that I'm working with are part of the tech and the digital era. Over 2,000 of their team members, when I've offered measurement and evaluation and feedback, I've shared this one thing with me, is that they all have, every student, every team member have self-limiting beliefs. And if you partner that up with transferable skills, quite often you have transferable skills that you're not quite aware of because you don't know how to articulate it. So all of these companies, all of the staff that work with them, and all of the students have basically gone through a journey of learning to then go into a recruitment period of, I need a job. And as part of that, we've spent time looking at what are those transferable skills. Now, it's said that you can have the highest IQ and a remarkable emotional intelligence. But if you've not got the grit and determination to master whatever it is that you're learning, you're going to struggle. So resilience is a transferable skill, absolutely. And it's something to be proud of and articulate if you're wanting to immerse yourself into the tech and the digital industry. So what prevents growth after adolescence? Okay, fear. It's the number one thing. It's the fear of the unknown, and that is actually false evidence appearing real. We make stories up in our mind. Procrastination. What if? You're in a rut. You could be at crossroads. You might have spent a fortune on your education. Your parents will go ape, very northern expression. Your parents are not going to be satisfied with you changing direction. You've got bills to pay. You're really miffed off with a 9 till 5. You're at conflict with what life holds, what is ahead. You're second guessing yourself. You're bothered about what others think. You've got self-limiting beliefs. The list goes on. So if you just put those to one side and think about your transferable skills, when you really look at things in layman terms, all of those things or some of those things will ring bells with any human being on earth. You've got to kind of decipher they are exactly what is stopping me, but what is going to start me, what's going to get me to prevent procrastinating and move forward. Okay, so 2009 was the catalyst of change for myself. I was living and working in Koh Samui in Thailand, and the company basically went bust, and I didn't get 2 months worth of wages. And on December the 6th, I flew back to the UK, 6 inches of snow, pair of flip-flops. I applied for 172 jobs, and at that time, the economy was in an absolute, complete and utter mess. So to my bewilderment, I worked behind a bar, serving people that I used to manage as a training manager. So my transferable skills took a knock back. And what I kind of talk about when I tell my story, quite often in more detail than what I'm going to share with you today, is that I actually took a step back, and that catalyst of change was a thing that prompted me to look at diversifying my skills and working within the digital and tech era. I moved to Manchester for 6 months, and 10 years later, I'm here working with all these amazing tech companies and having great opportunities to work with people like yourself and Manchester Digital. My point is, the transferable skills that I had from teaching English as a foreign language overseas enabled me to set up my own company, communicating with people, talking about social styles, talking about what is stopping you living the life that you deserve. So the catalyst of change is that was a beach that I was living on. I was living in one of those beach huts, and I will get back there. But before I get back there, I'm going to have to navigate myself in a different way. And I'm thankful. I'm so thankful for meeting people within the digital and tech industry, because it's something that I was quite scared about. It was something that I was fearful of. And the thing is, everybody's great in the industry. They're there for the same reason. So we've spoken about childhood. We've spoken about the fact that we're conditioned. We all have innate transferable skills. We have skills that are natural to us, and we also have skills that we have to learn and work on. So I'm going to share a little bit of theory and a bit of science with you, and hopefully this will help you think about now and the future, and what it really is motivating you to share your transferable skills and become competent in trying out different things within these great industries. So Dan Pink is a famous author. He has written very popular award-winning books, and one of them in particular that I'm very fond of is Drive. And it talks about the principle of intrinsic motivation, and there are 3 elements that make this up. One is autonomy, one is mastery, and one is purpose. So Pink talks about autonomy. If we become more autonomous, we have freedom. We're more free thinking. We're going to have to pull on the creative thinking side of the brain, which means that the way that we're rewarded and the way that we work is definitely focused less away from the extrinsic motivation. My best example to you here is you're playing a game of cards, okay? One person playing the game of cards could be playing to win. They want to win that £2,000. 2 or 3 people within that group could be playing cards because they actually love the challenge and they want to get better at it. Okay, so it's about the mastering of it. So intrinsic motivation is in getting fulfillment. Quite often you're going to have to master something and really work hard at it without a reward being there that's either monetary and in that kind of satisfactory sense. Intrinsic motivation is something that you feel emotionally connected to. And then, of course, you have your career success, your relationships that you're going to build. And quite often you're going to have to co-create your network. The extrinsic motivation is about, are we going to work just to earn the money? So when you're thinking about your transferable skills, think about, okay, some of my transferable skills absolutely will earn me my wage, but I don't want to do the 9 till 5 thing anymore. So what is it that I can look at from my list of 10 things there that are transferable skills, and how can I align those to being happier in what I do and actually doing what I want to do? So it talks about, Dan Pink talks about mastering. So if you think about somebody that works in IT, a junior developer, or somebody that is learning content, digital content, and mastering a new skill, the thing here is some of these things don't have an end goal. And you're going to have to use the grit and determination to get there. The purpose that Dan Pink talks about is sometimes you're going to be dealing with something that's bigger than yourself. And that means that if you're working with a team, a great set of people to achieve something, which you often will, working with this industry, that kind of fulfillment will be very satisfactory because you're going to be doing something very different to just the mundane. And as I say, the global economy, the global job market needs people of all generations, believe you me, all generations, to diversify where we're going to go. So that's a little bit about Dan Pink. I will be sending a handout through Manchester Digital. Feel free to look at that. Add me on LinkedIn and I'll answer any questions that you have for that. And if you want, I can run another free workshop for you guys. Just to back it up and go into a little bit more detail, it's fascinating stuff, but it does really relate to transferable skills. So if I think about the people that I spend time with in this wonderful industry, I would say 9 out of 10 people have the growth mindset. And the growth mindset is looking at, you're always learning. Mistakes make your brain grow. Things are difficult before they are easy. You want the challenge. You listen to feedback from others. You see failure as a step in the right direction to success. Failure is feedback. So when you think about transferable skills, don't think that there's something on that list that you're not yet able to do. Think about, how can I learn how to become more of that? One of the big things on the list is becoming more analytical, becoming more pragmatic. Some people fly by the seat of the pants. So critical thinking is intrinsic. It's about, how am I going to do that? How am I going to be satisfied doing that? And what is the reward? The reward is that you're challenging yourself. Time management, resilience, self-awareness, don't forget, and emotional intelligence is right at the top of the list. It's how you articulate that to somebody when you're talking about your transferable skills. Solution focus is one of the biggest things that Google, Microsoft, and most tech companies are looking for now. So they don't want yes people, they want people to positively challenge them and get them to think differently. Being resourceful, thinking about how you get your point across, thinking about how you do things, and being a challenger, being able to confidently challenge a room of people in a way of you're getting people to think differently, as well as being confident enough for yourself and assertive enough to do so. I hope this is helping. Carol Dweck is a professor of science and mindset. And Dweck talks about the fixed mindset. Now, some of you may be really aware of Carol Dweck's work, okay? And again, I will be sending a handout for this. So it's said that if you have a love of learning and the dedication to master something, you're at a starting point. A growth mindset is where you will look at the failure as an opportunity to grow. You can learn to do anything that you want because your efforts and attitudes will determine the abilities. Now, it's okay to have a fixed mindset because we all have some kind of fixed mindset. And a growth mindset is something that you will have to adopt to survive, if I'm honest. So quite often, if you get frustrated, as I do with Excel, not great, but getting better at it, you're going to get frustrated and maybe want to give up. So one of the transferable skills, if you can think about your growth mindset, is how do you take feedback? Is it constructive? Do you ask for feedback? And it's a great way of enabling your transferable skills, especially within the digital era. So I want to get back to the beach and I want to continue to spend time with wonderful people like yourself. And my question to you is, how are you going to link back to the list of transferable skills? How are you going to articulate that? And how are you going to make the first step forward in actually designing the life that you wish to lead?